In the studio with us now is the CEO of South Africa's national oil company, state oil company. It's called Petro SA. It's Nosizwe-Nocawe. Good morning, Nosizwe. Thanks very much for coming in. Before we get into the two projects that are really going to be the meat of this chat, can you tell us how strategically important it is for a country like South Africa to have its own state oil company?
Good morning. Oh, sorry, good afternoon. Yes, it's extremely important for us to have our own national oil company. And the reason is that it is responsible to ensure the security of supply of petroleum products in the country. As you would know, for the past couple of years and going forward, the supply-demand balance has shifted. We used to be before in export mode, but we're now currently in import mode. And it is extremely important that we have that reliability. I mean, we put full reliability of the liquid fuels in the hands of a national oil company. That way we are able to have an influence as well on the market and on policy issues in South Africa.
When you talk about the petrochemical industry, the oil industry, the gas industry, and where you talk about pipelines, I want to talk about lifelines. And it seems to me that one of the projects we're going to talk about, the first one, which is Project Ikwezi, is a lifeline for the refinery in Mossel Bay. Can you tell us about what sort of stage you're at now with this very important project?
Yes, thank you. That it is. As you would know, the lifeline is based on the fact that the feedstock for the refinery has been dwindling. And it's very important that we ensure the sustainability of that refinery. So the Project Ikwezi is now very advanced. All the different stages of the project have been done. We've procured most of the equipment that's going to be required for the project. We are awaiting the drill. The drill will be coming to South Africa, and we hope to do the first spud in November once the drill has arrived. That is going to ensure that we're able to sustain the life of our GTL refinery for another couple of years, whilst we concurrently are also looking at alternative feedstocks for our refinery.
Of course, the key to this project is the gas field, your gas field 80 kilometres off the coast. When is the first gas going to be supplied from that field?
We estimate, if everything goes according to plan, which it must, we estimate that the middle of next year, 2013, we should have first gas coming from the FO field.
Okay, now I think the life of this field is around about 6 years. Again, 6 years is great, but on the other hand, then you've got to secure new supplies, new feedstock for the Mossel Bay facility. You're obviously looking beyond 6 years. Can you tell us anything about how far you've got with, beyond 6 years, if you like?
Yes, as I said, concurrently we are looking at our LNG project so that we can, from 2016, be looking at using LNG as well as a source of feedstock into the GTL refinery. Those discussions for that project are at hand, and we are looking at different sources of supply around the continent as well, so that we can look at the economies of scale with regards to the costs.
Yeah, it's very interesting, actually. I mean, that's one of the things as a layman I wanted to ask you, Nosizwe, was how far away can you source your supplies? I mean, the price of gas worldwide, I think, has been at a 10-year low recently. And I just wondered how far away it is viable for you to bring that feedstock into the country.
You know, it depends which mode you're utilizing. I mean, it's either you're bringing it by ship or you're bringing it by pipeline. But of course, the pipeline, both methods of procuring the gas require you to put some infrastructure down. If it's the pipeline, you're looking at a feasibility of at least about 2,000 kilometers, and you could look at bringing it, let's say, from Mozambique. But for that, of course, you're going to require a regasification plant to be built. Sorry, if it's by ship, you require a regasification plant. Pipeline, you can look at about 2,000 kilometers thereabouts before it becomes totally unviable. The second thing, of course, is that you've got the issue of the quantity. The quantities as well have got to be such that the economies of scale are also commensurate, and which is why we are in discussion with other SOEs in the country to ensure that we partner with them for them to also become off-takers of the gas that we bring to the country.
Where else are we exploring? I mean, there's been all sorts of talk about some significant fossil fuel resources off the west coast, but I know you're looking further and beyond South Africa's borders. Any prospects you can tell us about?
Well, we have also entered into discussion with our national oil company as well, the GNPC in Ghana, so that we can look at opportunities off the west coast there as well. We are interested as well in pursuing other opportunities, but I think our concentration is more around the coast of Africa. Some of our discussions are quite at the early stages, I'm afraid, so you'll appreciate that I'm unable to actually mention, but the imperative for us to actually get the feedstock is almost putting us now at a burning platform where we're moving at the speed where we really have to make sure that we've got these alternative supplies of feedstock.
Yes, indeed. Well, good luck in that regard. And as you say, actually, obviously sensitive negotiations going on. But it seems to me that the African continent, and South Africa in particular, not just being blessed with mineral wealth, but also energy wealth as well. Just finding the stuff. What about Project Mutombo? Tell me about that, because this is involving Kucha, this is involving increasing the oil refinery capacity of South Africa, which is so important. Where are we here?
All right, we have with Kucha signed a joint study agreement with the Sinopec, so that we're going to be looking at the analysis, the market analysis, reviewing some of the assumptions, such that we can actually move to the second stage, where in the second stage we'll then be dealing with the business case for the refinery. We believe that it's an imperative to build the Kucha refinery, given the supply and demand situation in our country. As I mentioned earlier, we are now a net importer of liquid fuels in the country. There's a figure that last year we imported around about 100,000 barrels per day of refined fuel into the country. That number is envisaged to increase to close to 200,000 by 2020. That is the size of a full-fledged refinery in the country at present. So we are working earnestly to ensure that we are able to bridge the gap, because we have also got to, as I said, we've been mandated with the security of supply of the country. So we'll be looking at partnerships, which type of strategic partners we will be bringing on board so that we can jointly execute the project.
200,000 barrels a day, that's a lot of foreign exchange, isn't it, Nosizwe? What would be, once this, which will be probably the biggest refinery on the African continent, if and when it is completed? It's obviously going to save us a lot of foreign exchange, but also from a national security point of view, also very strategic, I think.
Yes, extremely strategic, because of the fact that, apart from the fact that we'll be able to put all the product to bed in the country, it's also going to assist in terms of product supply in the region, in our region. And currently, I mean, previously, South African companies used to also supply the neighboring countries, but because of the fact that we have to concentrate on putting product to bed in South Africa, the neighboring countries' security of supply is also at risk. So we envisage that Project Mutombo is going to be able to not only solve the problems for South Africa from a supply-demand balance, but also regionally speaking. As well, I mean, as you know, one of the things that we concentrate a lot about in the country is the issue of job creation. And it's envisaged that during construction, we should be able to create about 21,000 jobs during the construction of that refinery. A second thing, of course, is that it's going to be imperative that we also have huge skills transfer. As you said, this is going to be one of the biggest projects of this type in recent history. And I think we are, as South Africa, at the point in our history and in our development of ensuring that we're able to bring in this level of infrastructure into the country.
Nosizwe, thanks so much for taking time to come into the Power Lunch Johannesburg studio this afternoon.